You are now listening to the Going North podcast, where you'll receive tips and techniques to advance yourself. I'm your host, Dom Brightman, and every week we're going to be hearing from an author who's going to share their expertise to help you charge forward in life. On a quick side note, be sure to check out Going North the book. It's available in ebook, audio, as well as paperback form for those who love to read a traditional book. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, where we bring wonderful people from all over the world who has put pen to paper and keyboard to screen to publish great work to share with your eyes and ears. And today is no different because we have another author in the building, and not just any author, because this wonderful author right here has been steeping in universal wisdom, teachings, contemplative, expressive arts, and energy medicine for over 20 years. So that's over 2 decades. And her wonderful guidance is infused with pure love and sober clarity. And her skills dive deep into the heart of matters using the creative process known as a catalyst for transformation. This wonderful author right here is passionate about the alchemy and the art of life and pioneering new territory for what it means to be fully alive. Because this wonderful lady right here, she was a born mystic at the age of 11 and was experiencing a full-blown love affair with the divine. And this vast relationship to spirit continues to be her anchor in life. She is devoted to honing the embodiment of the divine source energy, tapping to the power of creation and inspiring others to do the same. And you're probably wondering who this awesome lady is who published her 3rd book, Everyday Magnificent Practices for Activating an Unlimited Life. It's the one, the only, Gabriela Masala. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm awesome. Thanks so much. Great to be with you.
Oh, it's great to be with you, too. Great to be with you, too. This is book number 3, and the title is awesome, Everyday Magnificent. You know how many people want to have just at least one day of magnificence if they're going through something dark? So what inspired you to publish this book?
Why not have Everyday Magnificent, right? I think some people look at the title and have a little bit of a cynicism to it. And I just feel like it's the real thing, my friend, that everyday magnificence is really by design. It's based on what that means to each being. And so for me, it's about being really fully alive, feeling like I am being well utilized in this life. I'm engaged, I'm present, I'm free, I'm connected, I'm in love. I am living a life that I love. And so that's the inspiration of, if we're living in that way, then every day, no matter what we are going through, has that essence of feeling really magnificent. So I'm going to pause there. I'd be happy to tell you how the book came to be, but let me just pause and check in with you. So Everyday Magnificence is a compilation of expressive arts practices and mindfulness techniques and meditations, ways of getting us really connected to our deepest self and then expressing it forward into daily life. And it's an expressive arts mindfulness playbook or workbook. I don't know, have you been playing with yours?
Haven't been playing with mine just yet. I'm going to get around to it.
You got to engage the process to really feel the magic of it. And actually, I've been working in the field of expressive arts therapy and dance and movement therapy, and really just loving the power of the creative process to ignite awareness and transformation for decades. And more recently, in my studies with Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is an amazing mentor of mine, in his events, in his week-long events where we were studying brain science and neuroplasticity and quantum reality and how to move from a place of the paradigm of separation and Newtonian science, if you want to speak the language of science, to the place of quantum-based reality and the paradigm of wholeness and oneness, of unity, and really feeling like I don't want to just be on retreat, or in the meditation or on the yoga mat or wherever it is that you get in your zone and in your flow state and have that for just a short time. I want to live this. So how can I create a set of practices, a whole mindset that creates a lifestyle of living in that flow state, in that place of the zone, in that sweet spot, and in a reality of wholeness and oneness and connection? And so that's where I developed the process. And then after I developed the process, I started to share it with all kinds of clients. And then I made it into a book. So that was the inspiration.
Nice. Nice indeed. Nice indeed. Nice indeed. Be able to combine both science and spirit is one heck of I guess in a way, it depends on who you ask. I guess it could be a challenging thing to do, depending on who you ask. I guess. Was that challenging for you?
I would say that having always had a knack for living in connection with the invisible realm, whether we call it spirit or God or the divine or source energy, but that's always been where my primary relationship has been. So for me, the bigger challenge was really getting resonant to living in the part of our brain that is logical and linear and that follows rules and is, in the agreement field of the culture. I've always been really fringe. So whereas some people, they judge that they're not artists, that they're not poets or musicians or writers, where for me, I feel like all of us are artists. All of us, if nothing else, can be a life artist, right? So yes, it can be challenging to get over the mind of separation, that analytical, judgmental part of our brains that has its right place, right? We need all the whole brain intelligence on board. And yet it's so worth it because, what is a life if it's not having a good full dose of playfulness and freedom and creative expression?
Amen to that indeed, creative expression, because some folks may have trouble with that, and you probably most likely overcame that. I mean, probably starting from a young age as a mystic to where you are now, to being able to help others reach that goal.
Yes, definitely. And I know that many of us as children are natural mystics and are natural artists, and certainly we all know, for the most part, as children, the power of play and imagination. And then, the domestication of life, the pressures of adulting can kind of knock that out of a lot of people. And I'm definitely here to say, bring it back. Some of our greatest wisdom is found in play and in free expression, and certainly that heart-brain coherence where we're not just living our lives being driven by that part of our brain that just wants to produce and be successful. Again, like success can look a lot of different ways. And for me, a successful life looks like having my intelligence of my heart online and lit up and guiding my way with the partnership, right, with this, like being in tandem with the brain of the goals and the doing, so that the being and the doing kind of have a sacred marriage.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it is so true about the play part. I think it was a couple months back, the wonderful Jane Ransom talked about that too. It's like, you grow up and then you get to the bad phase known as adulting, and then you forget your creativity and your just love for life and actually wanting to actually create. But then student loans and bills, among other things, just happen and then pile up on you, and then you got to take on this big giant blob of of basically what they call reality. And then it's like, hey, you got to find a way to actually get back to that part where you're actually embracing that curious child that actually wants to still wonder and go on that adventure even.
Definitely. And, there's a lot of different realities to live in. There's the mainstream kind of dominant paradigm idea of what reality is and of what a life is. And then there's really getting free of the matrix, right? It's not just an idea. There is a reality of getting free enough in our energy and in our awareness and in our belief systems where we're able to look behind the veils and see, hey, I'm actually a divine creator. I actually get to have a say in the life I'm creating, in the way I'm living it. And I with compassion, I say this because I know that there's many of us who are really having to show up to a job that we may not love, or that are doing our best to take care of family, loved ones, etc. So I don't say this in a nonchalant kind of way or Pollyanna. I mean, it really is a sense of how do I wake up to, first of all, my life is a precious gift, right? Even the sense of like living in gratitude, where even the energy of gratitude, the practice of gratitude, it has a current of energy that allows us to see into life in a new way, and that then we can bring joyfulness, connection, creativity. We can live a life that is our work of art and offer that wherever we are, whatever we're doing, whomever we're with, in whatever situation. And that from that place of living in this way, we also start to get freed up from whose perspective and whose perception of reality am I living anyway. And then we can really become co-creators and change things up. Do you think? I mean, is that how you live?
I mean, yeah, because sometimes when it's like you may set a certain goal because it's like you see other folks doing it. It's like, hey, let me get that goal too, just for the heck of it. And then you reach it, it's like, oh, okay, well, what's next? And you're left like, oh, shoot. And then you have to sometimes maybe have to find a new why or a new goal, or actually probably have to just forget all of the stuff you hear and then go on a totally different path from the norm to find what brings you true fulfillment.
Definitely. We are evolutionary beings. I believe that all of us are alive here and now. It's such an exciting time to be alive on our planet. And, from, again, depending what perspective you're looking from, and if you're freed up enough from the matrix or the programming, it feels like we're waking up. This is an exciting time on our planet. And I'm really lit up about supporting people to really feel into who am I now, because I am now is not who I was even a week ago or a month ago or certainly not a year ago. What's lit up inside of me that I feel inspired to create, express, experience? How do I want to live? What am I serving? These inquiry questions, and the journal is full of really wonderful writing prompts and inquiry questions that really inspire the participant or the reader to jump in and really get current with who am I now and what lights me up now and what am I becoming and how can I get into that sweet spot of living my life in a way where I'm in love with my living.
And I totally agree with you on that, because it's like, do you really want to be the same person you were 30 years ago? I personally wouldn't be. I haven't been on the planet for 30 years. I wouldn't even be a fetus yet, so I definitely don't want to be the same person I was 30 years ago.
Yeah, do you know that there's actually studies, you may have heard of these studies that have been done, that by the time someone is 33 years old, over 90% of their thoughts and feelings are the same exact thoughts and feelings, right? That this is the hardwiring, the conditioned brain, the unconscious. So that's why it's so essential. And then, what happens? Most people who are not living in a way that is enlivening and has novelty and has new possibilities, and they're on their evolutionary edge, they reach somewhere in midlife, in their mid-40s or so, and suddenly they feel like, you know what, I'm not deeply fulfilled. And so what I say is, don't wait till midlife. Like, live now, live fully awake now, in a way that if the day comes, like I love the First Nations or Native American tradition says it's a good day to die. And what that means is I'm living so fully. I'm living freely. I'm living in love. I'm walking in beauty. It's a good day to die. That sense of I'm living fully now.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right. Don't wait till midlife. That's right. Wait till quarter life. Let me stop.
Don't wait. Yeah, don't wait. I think that's the whole point, right? Live a magnificent life on your own terms, by your own design, sovereign. Like, you get to decide. This is your precious life, and sad, but many people forget that. And in a way, this amazing life experience is a kind of dance. Remember, forget. Remember, forget. But I'm here to support people to remember.
That's right. And then help them make their own version of the Michael Jackson Remember the Time video, right? Yeah, their own music video. It's like, yeah, remember the time when you wore a propeller hat on your head with the 3 colors? And you remember the time you had a Barbie doll?
I don't remember that.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Heck, you can even have them try to remember the time where when they were a tree once. Okay, maybe not that one.
No, I would say that, we each are like an acorn that we're born into this life, and who knows? I mean, we're infinite beings. Who knows how many lives there have been or how this whole mystery works. But here and now, we were born to this life, and we have this mighty tree within us, right? I mean, a huge oak tree, a redwood tree, it starts from an acorn, from a seed and a pine cone. And if that gets just the right combination of nurturing earth and water and sunlight and air, and those circumstances are just right, it can grow into a mighty, massive, beautiful standing tree. And so, we're no different. We have everything we need within us. And what would it take to get into just the right environment and to co-create that for ourselves, if it's not the one that we were born into or the one that we find ourselves in a certain work situation or relationship, but to really get that real about, I want to grow in a place where I'm going to thrive and become my best self, and then go about creating a life that reflects that. I mean, I think that's it's a beautiful opportunity that each of us has.
Yeah, that's right. So it won't be that kind of like that frog in the well, right? The little frog in the bottom of the well, where I thought that was the whole world and he conquered it, but outside the well, it was a lot bigger world out there.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, it's a wild world, but this is the playground.
Yes, indeed. I believe that's the reason why this book is more of a journal, right?
It is. It's an interactive journal. Some people say, hey, I love your book. And I say, it's not my book, it's your book, right? So it's designed that the first 20 some odd pages are an introduction, and then there's a really descriptive, simple, direct table of contents of all of the practices. So there's journaling with writing prompts and with sentence stems. There's mandalas, which is filling color within circles, allows the whole creative side of the brain to work with the part of the brain that works with language. So this is an amazing way to get insights and come into wholeness with parts of us that haven't quite been expressed. And then there's everything from, instead of goals, I like to use the word source creations, because they're creations that are inspired by our source energy, not just by the thinking mind, which is kind of the limited nature. And then there's empowered actions, there's gratitude lists, there's all kinds of meditations, walking meditation, dance meditation, art meditation, earth meditations, nature. There's all kinds of touchstones like flooding gratitude and moving all your joints, working with the breath, so that it's all really set up. And then day by day, it takes you through templates and practices. And so you get to fill this book with your insights and your life and color and inspiration. And it really is like a companion that walks with you into designing, creating, and living a magnificent life on your own terms. It's really fun. I hope that you dive in and enjoy it.
Very powerful indeed, very powerful indeed. And you said dance meditations, so am I going deeper into that? Because I've actually never heard of that before.
Dance meditation?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that a little bit. So since the beginning of recorded time, people have been moving their bodies in ecstatic dance as a way to come alive, to heal, to clear energy, right? So I'm not talking about learning dance steps, even though for some that may be super fun and great. And it's really about putting on music that you love and moves you, and then letting your body move. And that in that there is an innate intelligence that naturally will give us a sense of clearing, upliftment, just vibrating. You know that even one of the practices that has been shown to make us really healthy is shaking and vibrating, right? To literally move energy, where our bodies are like these incredible magic wands, these circuits of energy. And when we breathe and move and allow ourselves to be moved, we naturally come into a higher state of awareness. Our brain waves change, our biochemistry changes, we have endorphins moving, right? So there's a sense of being able to use anything in life as a meditation. That ultimately, and my intention for writing this book was, how do I make life the living meditation? And within that, sometimes things like just putting on a favorite piece of music and letting yourself just get your groove on and shake it down and have a little soul dance can elevate your state so much. It can totally shift your mood. And it also connects us to that part of our unlimited nature where we have a flood of inspiration, a download, again, access to what many, many people have documented as the zone state, the flow state. Dance, ecstatic dance, free dance, is one of the fastest ways there. So that's why we integrate dance meditation.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much. Even 5 minutes is great. Do you love to dance?
Oh, yeah, especially when no one's looking. That's right. He who rhythm forgot is he who has all the rhythm when no one's looking. That's right.
Everyone's got rhythm.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's really interesting, though, in a way, that actually is a pretty interesting way to meditate, and it's not the typical way. I mean, most folks just like, all right, you sit down, cross-legged position, and make sure you put on an orange robe and shave your head, or just paint your head, make sure it looks like it's bald, and then start chanting. But no, it's like, dancing meditation. get to release
right.
energy, and then all sorts of other stuff happens.
Yeah, and there's so many ways of meditating. There's so many wonderful ways. There's as many people ask me all the time, what is the best meditation? And my response is always, it's the one you'll do. So for some people,
Nice.
they're really down with the Zen meditation and closing their eyes, following their breath. Other people, walking meditation. They want to be outside in nature and just in their bodies and in that kind of a groove. And it's really, there's infinite ways, and you can really find what works for you, because there is, I think, something about meditation. And I want to expand to say that meditation can also be a contemplative practice, a prayer or faith practice, right? So it doesn't have to look like what you just said so beautifully, some idea of like a monk wearing robes with a shaved head. That a meditation practice is anything that supports us to really find that internal quiet, that internal space that allows us to find the center point of peace amidst any kind of chaos, to turn within, to know thyself. Right? This is so valuable, especially as we walk through an ever-increasing world of speed and overstimulation and information overload and virtual reality and artificial intelligence. I love, the name of your podcast, like, how do we find our true north? How do we find that? And one of the ways to find that undoubtedly is to have some kind of practice where we can tune in and turn in and be able to really light up from the inside out and let that be our guide. So I love meditation.
Beautiful indeed, beautiful indeed. And I'm guessing singing is a form of meditation too, that you love to practice?
Yeah, well, singing, toning, sounding, again, I'm going to expand this to all peoples of the earth, from all of the many cultures in Africa to the Aborigines to the First Nations people, the Native Americans, to what's happening in churches and synagogues and temples all over the world. From around the fire, there is singing and dancing and people lifting up their praise and their gratitudes and communing with life. Right? So our voices are amazing. Everyone's voice is unique, and we need everyone's voices, I think, on the planet right now to really be present and in their hearts and say what they came here to say. And then singing, toning, sounding, these are practices that are like medicine, they're so simple, but it goes a long way, a long way. Singing is not just for celebrities, right?
Oh, amen to that. Amen to that. That's right. Well, actually, everybody's a celebrity in their own shower, right?
Yes, sir. Do you love to sing?
Yep, just sing in the shower, be like, yeah, that's right. Be on key all the time.
That's great.
Right,
I love singing in the shower.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Always got to have a voice recorder ready, too. It's like, oh, shoot, got to yell out this idea. Oh, yeah.
That's great. Yep. Yeah, often when I'm working with a client or someone in one of the events or workshops is feeling really cut off from their voice, working with toning and sounding, not even words, but just allowing them to start making sound, that the frequency and the vibration, right? So this is science. This is not just some lofty idea of esoteric directions. This is science has proven that when we vibrate our vocal cords and allow sound to move, it actually releases blockages. And so, it's just amazing in this work to see so many people come home to their natural and authentic voice, which of course is going to impact what they say and how they say it and the ideas that they have and bringing those ideas to expression. So it's really important to do whatever we need to do to have our voice be something that is free, right? Not blocked and not limited, but to really have a free voice, a free body. This is a gift that we give ourselves, and then by nature of that, everyone with whom we come in contact.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's a beautiful thing too, and I guess it kind of goes to just regular earthly levels. Like, yeah, before you get up to do like a concert as the singer, or if you're about to give a keynote presentation, warm up your vocal cords beforehand. And it's like, yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense, and it just just reminded me of that. It's like, oh, okay, now it just makes even more sense now.
Definitely, yes, definitely. Before any kind of, whether it's a keynote speaking presentation or a conversation with someone that you really care about and want it to go well, it makes total sense to take a moment and get quiet and center in ourselves, to be able to warm up our vocal cords a bit, to be able to even shake our bodies a little bit and wiggle our spine and move our joints, like to even drink some water to bring in a circulation of energy so that we are really connected. Because it's easy to just live a life from the talking, thinking part of our brain, to be a talking head. But then to live a life where we are fully embodied, when we're connected to the earth, where we're connected to the invisible realms and the sky energy, where our bodies are supple and our joints are open and free, where our voices are flowing and connected to our deepest heart, that's a different life.
And it sounds like a beautiful one, too.
Yeah, you might even say a magnificent one.
That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Magnificent indeed. So magnificent, you wake up in a pool of rainbow flowers.
Possibly. And if you don't, if you have it on the inside, it doesn't matter what the outside is like. I think that's a question I get a lot of, like, well, what about when things go wrong? And what if it's not? What if your day is sucking? Like, what if you're in a situation that is horrible, painful, stressful? So, of course, this is a life. Each of us has a dose of everything in a life. This is not a perspective of trying to run away from pain or from challenge, right? I know for me, my challenges have been some of my greatest initiations to greatness, to wholeness. And so it's really about finding the internal state where happiness is a state from the inside out, and where we are able to be so deeply connected to our unlimited nature, to that part of us that knows without a doubt that we are whole, that we are an intimate part of something miraculous and beautiful, that can regulate our emotions, that can regulate our breath, that can even regulate our thinking, so that we can stay calm and connected and at ease in no matter what's arising. And I think that's a really beautiful skill to bring to our human family at this time.
Oh, yeah, you can see that again, definitely, especially nowadays where folks are so all about hustling that they forget, like, hey, maybe you should take a quick moment, just take in the magnificence of the day that's within you already before trying to get out to conquer everything else, right?
Yeah, and it's always there. Even I love nature. I love the natural world. I've created a life where I'm able to be out on the earth and connected to the earth directly. But even for people who live in the middle of busy cities, there's always a sky. There's always air. We're given so much, like we're freely given the sun, the clouds moving by. Like there's there's beauty everywhere. And we just have to hone our ability to see it and to pause and notice it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'd say that probably builds up awareness, too, is just taking in things like that, especially with nature. It probably makes you more aware to, I guess, I wouldn't say build up defense, but I guess to be able to handle any conflict that may arise, you have a sense of peace within you.
Definitely, yeah. And, again, sometimes it just takes a deep breath, and that can connect us right back to that place of calm and center. And then there's also the practices, daily practices that we do to support us to resonate with a field of energy that is already just thriving with love. I mean, I know few people that can go out into a forest and after a few minutes, you can't deny that it has a feeling of calming, of grounding, it's a different vibrational frequency. Do you know that most people vibrate to the frequency of their refrigerators? Did you know that? Did you know that? I'm not kidding.
No.
Right? The buzz.
It kind of makes sense, but
right? Because a refrigerator is actually, it has a very loud vibrational buzz, and that people entrain to that because often, we're inside 4 walls. We're these domesticated people, and that's okay. Not to diss anything. But also equally, get outside. You get outside into, take a walk, connect to the trees, go to a park. That there's the natural world has a vibrational field that is naturally calming, soothing, grounding, right? And in places like Japan, and it's actually been around for a very long time, but more recently it's getting more notoriety. It's called forest bathing. Have you heard of forest bathing?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, my good buddy Melanie Bradley. She is amazing. Wrote a whole book about it. It's like, yep, forest bathing. And it's actually a great process. It's actually awesome.
Yeah, and it can be really anywhere in nature. And, of course, that extends to having pets and animals, that people who have dogs and cats are actually much happier because they're also having this, kind of wild but domesticated, but a creature that is like, it is not thinking about the bills and the burdens and the hustle. It just is here to love you, And so, again, like whether it's the natural world or relationships, animals, that give us an opportunity to steep in that frequency of love. It's very palpable. And it's very, very healthy and wonderful for us. And it inspires us then to go on to do all kinds of things. And even if we are, busy, full, rich lives, but to do it from a place of being really deeply connected, I think is essential for me.
Yes, indeed. Would you also say that it builds up your fuel for being more intentional?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there's a sense of intention and surrender that I love to have because I love to go with the flow and be carried by the magic of life. And then I also notice that the more connected, alive, in love that I feel, the more that I have ideas that I want to bring into fruition, the more that I have visions that I want to see manifest. And that takes intention, right? That takes intention. It takes empowered action. It's essential to tap our unlimited nature and our imagination and the realms of meditation, of the spaciousness of being in connection with the earth and nature and not thinking about what we have to do. But then we get that cup gets filled up in us. And then the natural next step is what can I create? What do I want to contribute? What is my gift to give back? And from that, definitely intention naturally is born.
And in speaking of intention, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you were currently 25 in the current year of 2019, with all of your amassed knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would say you are a sovereign being. You have an unlimited and infinite potential within you, and that you don't have to play by anyone's rules of what reality is. You can really trust your deepest heart's knowing about who you are and why you're here, and that it is not only within your power, but a gift that you give yourself and the world when you light up to what you're most passionate about and go out there and do it and be unstoppable.
Well said, well said. Well, all right, and for those who want to keep in contact with you, especially if you may decide to make a random audiobook, even though it's really not fitting for this one, but just keep in contact with you so they can hear more of your voice, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Great. So I love hearing from folks, and they can go directly to my website at GabrielaMasala.com. That's one L in Gabriela, and MASALA.com. They can also find me on Instagram and Facebook and everydaymagnificent.com. Love to hear from you.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Follow her on the IGs or whatever social media that you use and pick up 17 copies each of this wonderful, colorful, everyday, magnificent journal because it combines all the wonderful stuff. I mean, where else are you going to find colorful opportunities to make mandalas and actually dance meditation and actually journal all of it into one place? The wonderful Gabriela did that just for you. And the dog, too. So any parting words for a wonderful listener, Gabriela?
Oh, I just want to say thank you, and don't let anyone tell you what this world is. You can really make up your own and find your true north and go live it.
How's it going, you super special, awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode. Heck, even shoot myself or the guest an email and let them know what you liked most about this interview so that way they can stay inspired to keep pushing out great work.